Right. Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. We're diving into a word today that's got some real depth to it. It's one of those words that can make you laugh and also make you think, all at the same time.
It really can.
We're talking about absurd. And to help us really unpack this word, we've got a great expert joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to dig into this. Absurd is a fascinating word.
So we've got definitions lined up, of course. Got to start with the basics, right?
Absolutely.
But we've also got some real-world examples of how this word pops up in everyday language, a little peek into its history, and even a pretty wild illustration to get our brains going.
Sounds like we've got a lot to cover.
We do. But let's kick things off with that basic definition. What does absurd actually mean?
Well, at its core, absurd refers to something that just doesn't make sense, something that's illogical, unreasonable, ridiculous even. It goes against our expectations of how things should be. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, like the idea of a square circle is absurd.
Exactly. Or it's absurd to think you could learn a language overnight.
It's absurd to think you can win the lottery without buying a ticket.
Right. These examples really highlight the impossibility or just plain silliness of the idea.
Okay, so absurd equals nonsensical. But the origin of this word, it's a little bit, well, absurd, isn't it?
It is. It comes from the Latin surdus, which means deaf.
Deaf. Okay, so how do we go from deaf to something being completely illogical?
It's an interesting journey. Imagine trying to explain something to someone who can't hear. The message wouldn't get through, right? It's like that was something absurd. It just doesn't compute with our logical understanding. It's like our minds are deaf to the idea.
I never thought of it that way. It's like talking to a brick wall.
Exactly. And if you dig a little deeper into its history, in Roman times, absurd was used to describe music that was out of tune. So there's that sense of dissonance, things not quite lining up.
Like a clash or a disconnect.
Exactly. Over time, the sense of disharmony extended to ideas and situations, anything that didn't fit logically. It's amazing how words can evolve over time.
It really is. And speaking of evolution, let's talk about how absurd shows up in different forms today. We've got the noun absurdity, like the absurdity of the situation.
Right.
And then there's absurdly the adverb, which really ramps up that sense of ridiculousness.
Absolutely. Like, that new phone is absurdly expensive, or the traffic this morning was absurdly bad.
This line for coffee is absurdly long.
Exactly. We even have some fixed expressions. Absurdly long, absurdly complicated, absurdly high prices. They really paint a picture.
And speaking of painting a picture, we've got this incredible illustration to talk about. It's like stepping into a surreal dream where nothing makes sense.
I know, right? It's fantastic.
Floating objects, people fishing from clouds. It's like the artist took the word absurd and turned it into a visual feast.
I love that description, visual feast. And it really does capture that feeling of illogical chaos at the heart of the word.
It's like those optical illusions that mess with your brain.
Yes, the floating objects, the cloud fishing, they all defy our expectations of how the world works.
It's like gravity took up vacation. So, thinking about this illustration and everything we've discussed, has either of us ever encountered a real-life situation that felt genuinely absurd? Something so illogical that it left us speechless?
Oh, all the time. Especially these days, it feels like I see absurd headlines every time I open the news.
Same here. It's like reality's trying to outdo this illustration sometimes.
And you know what? Sometimes it really does. Maybe the key is not to just dismiss those moments, but to lean into them a little.
Find the humor in the chaos.
Exactly. Recognizing absurdity can be a way to spark creativity and think critically. It makes us question things we might normally take for granted.
It forces us to look at the world from a different angle.
Exactly.
And that's what makes absurd such a powerful word. It's not just about pointing out the silly or illogical. It's about challenging how we see the world.
It's a reminder that things aren't always as they seem.
Absolutely. So everyone listening, keep your eyes peeled for the absurd. Embrace those moments when things get a little weird and illogical. You never know what insights you might uncover.
You might even be inspired to create something absurd yourself.
And on that note, we're wrapping up our deep dive into the world of absurd. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a blast.